Welcome to Today in PAX DEI. My name is Stinkpot, and I will be stinking up your home today to tell you about the latest and greatest in PAX DEI. Feel free to look in the description below and skip around to content that you enjoy the most. All right, Shack Pack, we are here ready to talk about the juicy amount of details that came out just yesterday. We got our first glimpse of the combat revamp in the autumn update. The first thing that stood out for me was the fact that Mainframe stated that they had, for the most part, destroyed the existing set of combat mechanics as we know it and started back on the drawing board. They finally started over from basically a clean slate and began to work on the combat changes that we are about to show you here. The second thing that stood out for me is something we have desperately been hoping for the last couple of months, and I quote, "Significant changes are coming," ladies and gentlemen. Let's discuss that for a moment. So we have, up until this point, they've been talking about little nuggets of information. The last one was out last Friday, and it basically was a quick video on how their approach on designing clothes in the game, how they were inspired by historical documents in real life, and so on. And then prior to that, it was basically, again, either a maintenance update or more nuggets of information where they laid out, here's what is coming, but we're not sure which of this information is going to make it into the autumn update. So that made people feel a little uneasy because they're like, oh my gosh, today is the first day of autumn, and they're still not convinced which of information is concrete, solid, definitely going into the autumn update. Well, maybe they do know. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they do know, and they're just not allowed to tell us yet because they roll out these teaser changes, these teaser updates. Now we got a big debate going on in my clan, Stolen Valor. They're like, I got one guy saying, hey, he thinks it's coming out October 1. And I'm like, no way is it coming out October 1. And I'm like, if it does, I will do your bidding for one day in PAX DEI. Whatever you need me to do, I'll be there for you because I am that confident it will not be dropping October 1. And here we are, the first day of autumn. For it to drop at autumn 1, they would definitely have to start a full week of teaser updates next week in order to prepare for October 1. So I don't think we have to worry about October 1. I think they're going to keep doing these gradual teasers. And then they're just going to hit us hard with, okay, here's your confirmed date. Here's some more teasers we got planned. And then we're going to go hot and heavy. I think that's what you can mainly expect as we get deeper and deeper in autumn. As for me, I think it's going to be later in October. That's my hope. Maybe it won't be there that early. Maybe it'll be more towards November. But the reason why I am saying sometime in October is because as you get closer into November, you get closer to Thanksgiving and then on to Christmas. And from a development standpoint, they try to use that time. Typically, I'll say this, typically gaming companies will use those times to kind of wind down the year and get ready to hit it hot and heavy again in January. So that's why I expect it to be maybe second, third week in October, because if they do it closer to October 18th, because that would be a Friday. Probably not going to do it on a Friday, but they could. Typically they would do it on a Tuesday, so maybe like the 15th or the 22nd of October is when I would expect to see it, because they might also be planning a Halloween event and they might want to get that in before October 31. So I don't know what they're doing. That's just all speculation on my part, ladies and gentlemen. So what I do think they're going to be doing is You know, they did say a couple weeks ago, maybe we did miss the mark. Maybe we did launch this thing a little too early. Maybe. And so I think they've finally been thinking about that a lot. It's been on their minds. Population is dropping in game. So what I think at some point they said, okay, we've got to deliver what we promised. Okay, we originally wanted the updates to come out more often, but at least quarterly updates, we got to hit a home run with it. And they definitely do, because they are losing people at the point where they may not come back because other MMOs are about to launch and other MMOs are being hyped up to be released. So I do think it's good to wait as long as possible to get the game as polished as possible. But then you get the other side of it. Well, you can't just keep polishing forever because you're going to run out of money. And I think that was the major decision point on rushing to early access, is to get a feel-good moment, gauge the community. Well, they've definitely gauged the community now, and now it's time to hit that home run and get us a good content update. So I think that's the main reason why you heard them say significant changes are coming, because they realize they do need to hit a home run with this big update coming. And the next question is going to be, okay, which big ticket items are we getting? Are we getting horses? Are we getting carts? Are we getting an economy? Or are we just getting a combat revamp for now? We'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks, but let's get into it, guys. So they also released a PAX Day video. So the PAX Day video is coming. We're going to show it to you right now. This is, ladies and gentlemen, 96 seconds of pure, unadulterated hype for the combat revamp. Let's get into it. So I just want you guys to take in what you're seeing here. The first thing I noticed was the combat music has changed. Now when you enter combat, it's gonna be more immersive music that accompanies the particular battle you're in. The second thing I noticed is when you take damage in the game, the edge of the screen flashes red to indicate you're taking damage. Those are the first two things I noticed right off the bat when I started watching this video for the first time. We're gonna get into a deep dive in just a little bit of all the changes that I noticed in this video, but just take this in and enjoy it. So that was the spotlight on combat work in progress changes that Mainframe is working on. Thank you to Mainframe for sharing that with the Discord community. We're gonna get into more of it right now. So we just showed you the video as a whole. We let you take it in, and now we're gonna take a deeper dive into what that video means. So there was three main parts to that video we just watched. The first part was the melee combat, the second part where the movement changes, and then the third part was spell casting. So we're gonna go into a deeper dive of all of that content now, but I want to highlight a few things before we go back to that hype video that we just showed. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about here today, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the changes that they are making to default movement speeds. They are changing a subtle change. I think it's good to have this, but some people may not like it, so we'll get into that, and you guys tell me in the comments below how you feel about these default movement speed changes. Let's show you how it is right now. When you first log into the game and start moving, you're moving in a walking pace, just like this. So after that, you can press the shift button or whatever you have it bound to and start running. So that's good that we have the ability to go faster walking pace. And then if you want to burn a shift key or whatever you have it bound to, use some stamina, and then you can really sprint. That's what we are most accustomed to. You'll have your stamina stackers out there that will buff themselves up with a lot of stamina for blocking as well as sprinting so they can run faster for longer. Now, what they're going to be changing in the upcoming update is what you're seeing now is no longer going to be the default movement speed. The normal run, which is shown right here, this is going to be the new default movement speed. So, of course, they're not going to be changing sprinting at all. This is going to remain the same. So they're basically doing a flip-flop of the walk and the normal run. Currently in game, you start off walking, but in the next update, you're going to start off with the normal run. Now, some of you guys may not like this, and in some certain situations, you may be like, well, if I'm like building on the edge of a cliff, I may not want to just take off and start running. So I would imagine the way you enable normal run now will be the same way you enable normal walking in the next update. And if you just absolutely don't like how they're changing default movement speeds, they are adding a setting to allow you to toggle it and revert the movement speeds to as they are now. So whether you like this or don't like this, there's options for both sides of the community that may want default movement speeds a particular way. Okay? So good news. I think that's good news that they kind of have like that reverse option there. But hey, yeah. So that was your default movement speeds, guys. Let's take a look at the next one. Swimming changes are coming. Oh my gosh. Thank you, mainframe. Thank you for implementing swimming changes. But did they do enough? So as we swim currently, I'm not swimming very far in this example. Maybe 20 seconds of swimming, and look what it does to your default character without food, without armor. You're just swimming, and it quickly drains your stamina so fast and a good chunk of your health as well. This is what I don't like in the current implementation. Look how far. We did not swim that far, yet it almost killed us. So in the second example, this is what I really don't like either. If I don't want to fight, I just want to chill, I can't even do that right now. Because if I'm just treading water, it does the same thing as if I'm doing full stroke swimming. It drains my stamina and drains my health. For the role-playing community out there, for the big clan community out there, or maybe the solo artist that just wants to chill and have a nice relaxing swim, you can't do that right now because you'll die. So it's not that of an immersive experience. Swimming is more of a handicap right now than it is a leisure activity. So I hope they take that into consideration as they make these swimming changes. A third thing I would want them to consider is maybe the way they drain stamina should be based on what you're wearing. You know, New World had the weight mechanic where the heavier you are, the more taxing it was to go swimming. So maybe they should consider some type of implementation of and consideration of what you are wearing at the time. But like I said, it all comes back to, I just want to swim and chill and I can't. So those are your swimming changes, guys. Leave a comment what you think they should do to further make it better or further make it worse. But right now, the only thing that they really mention is that swimming changes. They are going to revamp the stamina cost associated with the swimming. So the next one I want to showcase here is probably the next big one, probably even bigger than swimming, probably bigger than character movement that we talked about. This, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, is fall damage improvements. From day one, whether you like to go out there and climb mountains or try to traverse your way down a mountain, or even just jumping off a little hill, we've definitely noticed that there's been some inconsistency with the way fall damage currently is implemented. So they're going to be doing some refactoring when it comes to fall damage. So let's take a look at that now. So right now, we are completely have nothing on, no food, no health, or default health. And let's take a look what happens here. So notice the distance that I fall in this example. I'm gonna come up here to the right. We're gonna fall just a baby bit initially. Look at that. That's probably about 10 feet or so, but we only took 3 health. And then we're gonna take a decent jump down. Still, only about 15 health, but then we jump about the same distance down and it just kills us. That's the inconsistency that I speak of in regards to fall damage. That third fall should not have killed us, because I am pretty sure if you go back and put a stopwatch on it, we fell for longer on that second drop than we did on the third one. Second one took us for like 15 damage. The third one completely killed us. So that is what we need to see changed for sure. Like I said, we might want to go on an adventure or just find a quicker way to get around the world, at least until they implement horses or some type of mount system. Finding a way down a mountain can save you considerable time. See that sliding mechanic? That's something else they should consider, because sometimes, sliding there maybe not have been a big deal because it was just a small building. But sometimes you can slide that same distance on the side of a mountain and it either hurts you or kills you. Another inconsistency, not only with the falling, but with the sliding itself. So now what we're gonna show you guys, we're gonna go through 3 different types of falls. This first one we're gonna go over is going to be just gravity fall, okay? We're not going to initiate any type of jump. We're just gonna come over here to the edge of this 2-story building and just let gravity do its thing, just to see how much damage we incur. All right, so we go from 100 to 85. 15 damage, no energy used, just a straight fall. Maybe that's too little, not enough, I don't know. I'm not really debating that, but what I am debating is if we do the same jump but add a little bit of energy to it, look at the damage difference from 85 to 32. And all we did was jump. We didn't use a stamina jump. This is a stamina jump. And when you do a full-blown jump like that, it kills you. I don't like that. It's the same jump in all 3 scenarios, guys. And just because I'm using stamina, it should not kill me. It's the same distance. Yeah, you are going out further, but height distance, it's the same. Like when I jumped, maybe I go a couple feet higher in the air before I take a nosedive back down to the ground. But again, guys, it should not be killing us from that particular height. That's my take on it. What do you guys think? Leave a thought in the comments for us, because this stuff that we're talking about, guys, when you're in game and you notice stuff like this, press the F8 key and give them some feedback. Whether it does, you don't always have to submit a bug. You can just submit general feedback to get changes like this, because the changes that are coming is based on your changes and your recommendations. So without that knowledge, mainframe just has a small sample size that they go by from their internal testing to determine what should be changed. But it's you guys out there, that community and PAX Day is what really drives change in a sandbox MMO. So make sure you're using that F8 button. So now we're going to take a deeper look at that video that we showed at the beginning of the show. Because we want to take a deeper dive into it and slow things down a little bit and just talk about a few things. So this is the start of the video here. We're going to talk about some melee changes that are happening. So like I said, the first thing you're going to notice here is targeting. So when these changes are implemented, whenever you face a certain mob or enemy, you should see your target switch to that enemy as well. Look, we're facing to the middle. We hit him. Now we're looking to the left and we're hitting him. And that's what we can expect. Okay. So I want to keep that pointed out as well, is when you have that camera angle change, you should notice difference in targeting. Okay. So we will talk about that. And then hitbox detection, it's going to show you now some different weapons. So now we're on the one-handed spear, and it's just showing you the differences in hitbox detection as it cycles through some different weapons. Here's your two-handed spear, just to show you some differences. And what they're really trying to show you guys is we are changing hitboxes. We are changing animations based upon weapon types. So a lot of changes are coming to combat. Maybe some of them are subtle like this, and you may not notice it unless you just really record it and stop it and rewatch it over and over to kind of get a sense of what's going on. You're also going to be getting different animations that are going to be happening. So like I said, another thing we talked about moments ago is the red outline to indicate you are taking damage. I love that. Another thing they are doing is they are going to be adding different audio cues. So another thing here, let's go back to this a little bit. So special attack animations will immediately interrupt melee hits. So it didn't really show it that much in this video, but if you remember, right now in game, if you like have a great sword, that big sweeping special attack, right? That will, if you're currently doing a normal attack and do the big sweeping, it'll interrupt the animation of your regular attack and just go right into the big sweeping attack for the special attack. That's going to be changing to that, because they want special attacks to immediately interrupt your regular melee hits, or your basic attack, as I would call it. And we mentioned general weapon animations are going to be your revamped. One thing we didn't mention though is they're also going to be changing the way can we rewind it a little bit to right here? So imagine if I was on the stairs in the background, or if I was on that second level, right? Especially if I was on the stairs, and if I had to look down at my enemy on that stairs, they're going to be revamping the animations to make it more realistic, to correspond to elevation changes. If the enemy is lower than you, or if the enemy is higher than you, how is your weapon animation going to respond when it tries to attack those enemies? So that's what it's talking about there. And then, of course, we've talked about some movement changes, but in this next segment, when it switches back to the stag, let me find that real quick. Let's get back to our stag right here. This is basically showing you different weapons, and they're giving us an ability to do like a lunging type of attack, or or what have you, because there's been several times when I've been going up against a bear, and instead of just walking up and just start slashing it, to actually lunge into my bear and hit him. And that's what it's showing you right now, the different lunging abilities you can have, and they're specifically showing you deer, because it's hard to creep up on deer. But if you do this type of lunging attack, you can kind of catch them off guard with different weapons. Obviously, it's going to be better if you're using a fireball or a bow. Excuse me, but that is what they wanted to highlight there. And then this is another thing to consider on movement, and they don't showcase it in the videos, but PvP is going to have a significant change. It's going to allow players to slow down enemy movements. They didn't really highlight what that means or what that's going to look like, but it's nice to know that they're taking PvP into consideration in addition to these combat changes. Blocking will also be more impactful. Again, the video does not show this, but the default movement speeds we talked about earlier, where if you have it set to run, well, when you initiate a block, you will be downgraded to a walk as you are actively blocking. So it's also going to prevent stamina regen when you do that, when you're actively blocking. So I think that's a more realistic approach as well to blocking in general. You shouldn't be able to full run or full sprint while you're blocking, kind of thing. It should slow you down and be like more of a defensive posture. They're also going to be adding, this is something I think you've seen in other games, but they're really bringing it out here. They're going to be adding an input queue system. So it basically is going to be a queue system. I don't know if they're going to show it in a UI on the screen, because they did not show it in this video, but basically you're going to have some type of input queue system. So like say unequip weapon, equip bow, and just go through that. Well, it's not actually going to trigger in game until it gets to that point in the queue. So that is something they're going to be adding, and they're also going to be increasing the overall number of possible actions that you can do with equipping and unequipping items. All right, so now we can talk about spell casting. Spell casting, we're going to have the ability to, when we target this enemy, as you can see up front, during the entire spell casting process, your character is going to stay locked on to the enemy, so before it launches the fireball what the intended target is. This is also going to be the same for healing. If you want to use a healing spell, you should know for sure what my intended target is going to be before it applies that heal. And to further supplement this, they're gonna be implementing a casting bar for spells and healing spells as well. I didn't really notice a casting bar here. What you'll do notice is there'll be some fly text where it says casting, and then it says done at the top to indicate how long until it fires off that fireball spell. So hopefully that's not the casting bar, because that's not really a casting bar in my opinion. That's just casting information. But I think maybe they'll replace that later with the actual casting bar to show you what's happening in a more pronounced way. Another thing they're going to be doing is the ability to cancel a spell. So when I start casting a spell here, I can immediately cancel and move out of a healing spell in case danger approaches me. That's what we can expect there as well, guys. Another thing we didn't notice was new PvE camps. They're going to introduce early game spells. Are they doing this because they're adding higher tier spells and that allows them to introduce spells into the game much earlier? I don't know. Are those Inquisitor forts going to become the new PvE camps that they're going to be introducing? I don't know. Is this going to be a modification or in addition to? We're going to have to wait for that information in the coming weeks, but they are adding that to the game, PvE camps. I know they mentioned a couple weeks ago that they're going to do some type of PvE camp when they talked about revamping the Inquisitor forts so it's more solo friendly. So are they talking about the same thing here, or is this something entirely new? We'll have to wait and see. But just enemies in general, you're going to be able to anticipate the enemy attacks better. And nameplates. I don't know if you guys noticed on that video, but nameplates have been adding to tell you what level the mob is, to give you an indication of its difficulty. Okay, so that's a cool thing coming as well. All right, so let's talk about a couple more things. Camera and audio is the next thing I want to talk about. They're going to be adjusting the camera collision, reduce the jumpiness. I definitely have noticed this whenever I, have objects that are blocking my view. I will notice that there's a stutter. You sometimes notice this when you jump as well. They're going to have new audio when you level a skill. I felt like the current audio for leveling a skill was pretty good. Like, it was like, whoa, I leveled. But the problem was it didn't trigger every time you leveled. It seemed to do like every 3 or 4 or 5 levels. I don't know, but I'm curious to know what that's going to sound like, because I felt like it really didn't need that much of an enhancement, but hey, we're getting it. And also in that replay video, you might have noticed the NPCs were grunting a little bit different. So whether they're doing a combo attack or a chained attack, it just adds to the personality of the mobs by doing different grunting variations. It just adds immersion to the game. And then they're doing general sound mixing clarity. Don't know exactly what that entails, but that's the camera and audio. So the next thing we want to talk about is builders are going to be happy. I think, I know, especially for me, when I built the castle, I was really excited to see this. So let's get to it here to show you. This is exactly how it is right now. When you're out here building, sometimes your own character can get in your way while you're like, especially in a tight little narrow space like this. When I'm trying to build, things can get in your way. Now, this whole staircase that I've been working on definitely got my way. The height got my way. The angles, like it was very clunky, right? And I didn't like it. Sometimes I would have to like put the camera really far from my character just to get some of these angled beams the way I liked it. But now what they're going to be doing to help with the building and just field of view in general is when the camera gets close enough to the character, it won't just stay, blocking the view. It's going to actually fade your character so you can see through your character to see where you need to build. I think this is a big win for us builders out there, and just gameplay in general. It's going to help out. So like I said, really like that feature of the game. So let's talk about what is coming next. So they did this big combat video reveal yesterday, gave us some significant changes, some significant gameplay video of what that's going to look like actually in the update. But what else is coming? What else is coming beyond that? Let's take a look ahead into some future reveals that they mentioned. So the autumn update in general is going to focus on dynamic and responsive combat. That's going to be the theme. That's why when we talked about big ticket items earlier, responsive combat has been the #1 problem in PAX DEI. So the fact that we're going to be getting that hopefully will bring back some of the people that have been waiting for combat changes. Hopefully this will be enough. It's been enough for me without the changes, so it's just like I'm in heaven right now thinking about, oh, this is going to be even much better experience than what I'm already enjoying in PAX DEI. So another thing they're talking about in the future is role identity. So the Holy Trinity has been something they've talked about even before early access began. They want a tank, healer, DPS setup. So they definitely want that, and they want you guys to feel like, hey, I'm a tank, or I'm a healer, or I'm just a support DPS kind of character. That's the Holy Trinity, as most of you guys know in the MMOs that you've played over the years. Spell balance changes are going to be happening. Gear choices are going to matter. Everybody's rocking the plate armor right now. In the coming update, you're going to have more leverage. And I think you have to have that, because in order to incorporate the Holy Trinity, you can't have healers running around in full plate. There has to be a reason for them not to be in full plate. You're going to have your leather armor. You're going to have your cloth armor. What details? We'll have to wait and see, but they are putting an emphasis on role identity. Tank, healer, DPS, aka Holy Trinity. So, wow, chock full of information that we gave you guys here today. I enjoyed it. I took a lot of time to get this information out to you. Sorry it came out a day later, but I hope you guys tune in to our YouTube videos as often as you can. We try to get them out at least once a week to keep you informed about what is coming in PAX DEI, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm Stinkpot. This has been your Shack Show. Have a good day. Keep playing PAX DEI, and let us know what you think in the comments below about your experience. See you next time. Thanks for watching today's video. We hope you enjoyed today in PAX DEI. If you liked our content and want to join us live, head on over to twitch.tv/Stinkpot Studios. Hit that follow button and enjoy our next live stream. Also, if you want to contact me in Discord outside of any streams or any videos, you can do that by friending Stinkpot Studios. Mention PAX DEI in your request, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. See you next time.